So it says I've gone live. Have I gone live? Let me know and we'll get started. And I should be in sync since I'm using the YouTube directly. And let me check my chat. All right, chat seems to be working. Let me know, guys. Can you hear me so I can proceed? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Is it working? There's nothing worse than going on for 3 or 4 minutes and finding out. Yeah, okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Because that's happened to me a couple times now, where I start and it's not working for you, and I just go on and on and on. So that's why I'm so paranoid about that happening anymore. Got a little hair there. Okay. Well, first of all, the actual Christmas video that I'll be putting up will be Wednesday, which it's Christmas, right? That's when I'm going to be putting it up. But this is the last Coffee Time Live until next week. And so, of course, I say Merry Christmas. I put up a posting asking questions about should I even continue with this, or your impressions, your input, ideas that you have, and so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. As for these videos, what's going on, the software that I've been using that I could show some clips, that subscription expired. I probably won't renew it. And there were some problems with it, which is really unfortunate. Because working directly on YouTube it's always problematic for me. Last week I couldn't even get a live feed. I was trying to do Coffee Time. I didn't send a message out saying it was postponed or canceled because I sat here actually trying to do it, and I tried to connect for about an hour and a half, and I could not get connected. So I just gave up. I also had some upload issues. Now, what's going on with YouTube, aside from all the things that they do intentionally, is they've revised their software for YouTube, and they've got new versions of if you do videos, you have an account for your channel, and that software has been going through a revision actually for about a year, but in the last few weeks they've been putting up a lot of changes, like rapid fire changes, and apparently it's glitched out some things because I've had issues. There was a day and a half I couldn't even log into my account. It was very frustrating. I couldn't upload anything. So it's been a tough month when it comes to YouTube. Oh God, I wish there was. I really wish there was an alternative, but nobody can afford to compete. I'm lacking confidence in this platform because of all these issues lately. But for New Year's, I'll do a New Year's video, and I'll go in a little bit deeper as to why I'm actually reassessing what I'm doing. But just to tell you quickly, I've been going through all the metrics for the year. Some of the obvious ones, subscribers and likes and dislikes and all of that. And most of the things have actually gone backwards in 2019. So, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's something I've done. Maybe I'm just not doing something good enough. Maybe I'm not providing, the right kind of information. Maybe I should just stop. I've been doing this for 4 years. Maybe, people are just kind of tired of hearing from me. And I get that. I get tired of hearing myself. So, I'm going through, of course, the end of the year, you want to reevaluate every so often. I'm going through that right now, hence the questions I've been asking. I will say that the single metrics that's up is the percentage of likes is up 6%, which is pretty significant. So that's good. On the other hand, my most popular, most watched video is also the most divisive, the for men only video, and it's got almost as many dislikes as likes, which is very unusual for a video generally. And because there's so many views on that video, I mean tens of thousands or maybe even 100,000 by now, it's skewed 2018. So I don't even put a lot of stock into, the improvement on that. So, when you look at all your metrics and you see everything is just kind of, going in the wrong direction, you just have to you have to reevaluate. You can't just ignore it. And so I'm going through that process. And again, that's why I'm asked for help. Today, I don't have a lot to talk about. I've got a few things, mostly updates on, what's been going on with me, the channel included, but in general, what's going on in Armenia. So it won't take too long, and then we'll open it to questions and answers. And don't forget, when you have a question, 4 question marks, I'm back to it's even more difficult to read the questions. So it's even more important than it's been for the last 2 months. So essentially, the questions I ask is, do I even continue? Do you care? Does it matter? And if I do continue, what about the formatting? I've been putting up a video a week, plus I do the live, and then most weeks I'll put up, I call it a bonus video. It's like I had more video done, and so I post it up sometime. If I do stay on the channel, and I'm inclined to do it, I mean, well, it's frustrating sometimes and takes a lot of time. It really is kind of my job. It's my hobby, my job, and for the most part, I like doing it. I've gotten already some pretty strong feedback as to reasons why I should keep doing it. So I'm inclined to go that way, but I won't decide until probably New Year's. But if I do continue, the Wednesday video, I'll probably turn it to Thursday. I think I'll have less problems with that. And as far as the Coffee Time Live, this seems to be a pretty popular show. It gets more views than just the regular videos, and all it is just talking. Although I will miss the ability to have clips. I took a bunch of pretty good clips for last week, and then I couldn't upload, and now I can't use those clips, so I'll probably throw them in a video. But should I do it every Sunday? I like doing it every Sunday, but maybe once a month or every couple of weeks. Your thoughts on that? For me, I never have trouble filling up, a half an hour's worth of things to talk about. So I don't know. So formatting is a question. Type of video I do. Some people like me walking through neighborhoods. Some people actually like me just sitting and explaining a particular topic so that they can understand something, like the tipping one and things like that. I've always tried to mix it up with conversations and video viewing location or walking around or something and talking head. I've always tried to mix it up because I just go, day by day, what's going on with my life, and I'll get emails or questions, and that'll prompt me to think about a particular topic. If it's a topic I've covered before, which is usually the case, it gives me a chance to update it, or maybe I look at it from a different direction now. And so, that's the way I've approached the videos is I do the format of whatever. If somebody comes along and is willing to do an interview, then guess what? You get an interview video. If I've got plans to go out and visit something, then you're going to get a location video. But, maybe some are more popular than others, and I don't know. So looking for your feedback. So what's been going on? Well, I've been pretty busy, actually, even though you haven't heard a lot from me lately because I couldn't get through to you. How's the hat? Looks huge compared to the one, the Ecuador one. Anyway, uh, done a fair amount of Skype calls lately. I really enjoy the Skype calls, actually. Um, I had probably the shortest one ever. I think we only went about 40 minutes. Most of them are a couple hours long. And I think the feedback I always get is people get so much out of them. And I really kind of enjoy it to have live question and answer where I can kind of really cover a topic until the point that somebody said, okay, I've got it. Um, so I've been doing that. I've had a fair amount of advising because recently, I don't know if it's because of the holidays, but I've had quite a few people coming around, dropping into Armenia, visiting. And so I've been involved in that. I've had a whole bunch of meetups lately. As a matter of fact, I counted them out, and in the last 2 months, I've met up with 12 different people visiting here in Armenia. That's a lot. That's a lot. And then Justin, the Armenian blind guy, you got the Manizalis guy, and I mean, how terrible to use that as a, but you know, it's, I don't know what else. I think it's kind of cool that you've got a couple people that are actually blind, but they're adventurous enough to go out on their own and make a new life. One in Manizales and one here, and they're both thriving. They both have developed a really big circle of friends. Justin here, he's now living in my building, and he invited me to a party. So I go up to the party on our, well, it's actually the 9th floor. It's kind of complicated because we've got negative floors, and we've got a floor that doesn't count. The elevator doesn't go up to the last two. But anyway, he had a party, invited me to it, and I went. I was actually there for 3 hours, but it was a bit much for me, a little overwhelming because more and more people kept coming. And actually, as I'm leaving and going down the steps to the elevator, there was another 10, 12 people. But it shows that, you know, he's been living here for a couple months, and, you know, he's already got a circle of people that probably added, I'm guessing between those coming and going, probably 40, 50 people. It's pretty impressive. He's quite the social butterfly, I think. I'm a blind friend magnet. Yeah, that's it. Um, so it was a very nice party. It was a good party. I had some clips of that. I was going to show you last week. I'll see if I can include it. And it was pretty funny. There was a surprise. All these little Santa hats didn't fit my fat head, but everybody was there with these little Santa hats on for a while. He'd hired a musician, came and played, and I guess after I left, everybody started dancing, and there was way too much food. So I think he had to give away a ton of food at the end. But it was a nice party. So, so there was that. I've been busy showing Armenia to some of these people that are here. I guess you'll call them walking tours, showing them around some of the highlights. Because if you come here, you can explore and discover on your own, of course. I mean, that's actually the way I like to do it. But on the other hand, if you're here for a limited time, if you're here for a week, 2 weeks, or a month, you could really miss out on some of the things that make life nice here because you just didn't know where they were, where to go, or, I mean, if you don't know about them, then you can't really track them down. And so I've been involved in that. Robert's been down here. I'm losing track of how many times. I did those 3 videos in a row on, Robert visits because for a while I spent so much time with him. It was actually a lot of fun. And but he's not the only one. There's been a number of people, and most people are kind of private, so I don't mention names beyond first names. But Spent some time with a couple this week. Had a nice time. And also, it's funny because I was with people when this happened a few times where I'd walk down the street and I'd be stopped and say, "Hey, you're the Grand Colombia guy," and and start talking on the street. And that's happened several times in the last week and a half. And they say, "Oh, well, they get the impression that, well, you're famous, you're popular, you're getting stopped on the street all the time." What doesn't happen that much, maybe once every month or so. It's just a coincidence that it's happened a few times in the last week. I was hoping to be able to return to Cuenca, Ecuador for Christmas. I was hoping to do that, but for a few reasons. One, I can't afford the trip, but beyond that, a lot of this stuff is going on. So I decided to make the commitments to do the things I was just talking about. Plus I have a personal life too, but I really would have liked to have gone back to Cuenca for Christmas. It's a magical time there. It's one of the better things you can talk about in Cuenca. Although there's no lack. I haven't served Christmas in Armenia well. I haven't given it justice in some of the comments I've made in videos, particularly when I talk glowingly about how it is in Cuenca, because it's pretty magical. But I don't want to mislead. The truth is, Christmas is a never-ending, non-stop thing here. I mean, just yesterday there were the Jeep parades where the Jeeps are all lit up and you're seeing the party buses and Jeeps go by, and it just kind of went on for quite some time. There's so much going on. The lighting has gotten really crazy this year, even as compared to last year. They love their holidays. It amazes me, you'd think I'd be used to it by now, but their parties and holidays, they're just thoroughly addicted in any reason. So Christmas is actually quite spectacular here in so many ways. Church masses or Santa Claus events, or just going to the mall. I mean, you're awash in Christmas. Other than that, for January, I'm probably going to be in Manizales. There's a lot of things going on, and I really should be there for 2, maybe 3 days. I don't know if that'll come to pass, but there's some things that I need to attend to, so I'll probably be back there. Other than that, I don't have any immediate travel plans for personal reasons, but and you can start your Q&A now if you want. 4 question marks in your question, and then we'll get right to that. But I do plan in January, just because I've been asked so much, even though I really don't want to do it. But I keep getting asked about, would you please go do some video around Pereira, more than what I've done? And granted, I haven't done that much. I've shown a few things here and there. But I have a plan. I might even do an overnight. I haven't decided yet. In Pereira, to really hit a lot of things about that city, because I just don't like bigger cities in general. I've got personal reasons why I just really don't like that place. But having said that, there are some very nice places, like all places. There's very nice places there. It isn't all, it's kind of hot everywhere, but it's not all negative. It's not all bad. And I probably should be a little more balanced on that, just because I don't like going there. I don't like being there. I would never live there. Doesn't mean that I shouldn't do, a few videos, and try to be a little more objective. Although, I do always say that these videos are really about my life, my perspective, my opinions on whatever the topic is, and they're not travel logs. They're not unbiased. They're not, strictly the facts, ma'am. I try to, I work hard to be as real as possible for these videos. And I ask everyone that I meet up with, now that you've been here, how do you view my videos now? And I always get the same feedback. Oh, there were no surprises. You were spot on. And that's a big compliment to me. That's what I'm looking for. So having said that, places like Pereira that I just don't want to go, or Cali, I'm probably not as objective with those because, it's like, why don't you do more Pereira videos? Because I hate going there. That's why. But I'm going to make an exception. In January, I'm going to do probably a series of a few of certain things around Pereira. Because everything isn't the way I want. And everybody shouldn't be moving to Armenia. I don't want this place to get, crowded, overrun, or changed. And there's pretty much anywhere in the coffee region, whether it's Ibagué or Manizales, any of these small towns, and grudgingly, I'll even say some areas of Pereira, people can make a great life. You don't have to go to over-expensive, over-commercialized places like Medellin. You don't have to go to Bogota, which is overpriced and it has a lot of issues. You don't have to go there to have a great life in Colombia. As a matter of fact, the best life in Colombia you're going to have is probably in this coffee region. And I've been to those places. So, my opinion. I mean, I think Medellin is an absolutely amazing city. But there's a lot of places on this planet, they're absolutely amazing, but you wouldn't want to live there. And I've got to hang up with pollution and, overcrowding and things like that. So that's what I got planned. So do we have any questions? We got, looks like one question. Is the university still closed because of the protest? I don't think it was ever closed. And I'm not sure which university. I mean, there's, like here in Armenia, there's a bunch of universities. In Manizales, there's like 7 major universities. I don't know that. Well, on the day of the protest, it was actually called a national strike. And on that day, my guess is they probably closed for a few hours. But that was planned, it was scheduled. And I know that the university was going after that because that's actually where they were meeting and assembling, for the protest. Here in Armenia, I mean, you only had a couple hundred people that were out for the protests anyway. So nothing really changed here. As a matter of fact, even though it was a national strike or national protest, and businesses were supposedly supposed to close down, there was almost nothing in Armenia that closed. And even some of the bigger supermarkets that are national chains that would be more apt to do that, they closed, but it was more like they closed early. They would close early evening instead of later in the evening, so maybe a couple hours early. So no, again, those protests, that national strike was so misunderstood. And with people that came here, we actually had some in-depth conversations about that. It was kind of easier to clarify. But it's a regular thing here. And what went on here is absolutely nothing like what went on in Ecuador, Chile, or Bolivia. It's a whole different thing. They do those things here on a regular basis, and it's more party. And they say, but there was a couple people that died. Well, as I explained, those really weren't the protesters. Those were infiltrators for their own political purposes, were trying to make problems. And those were mostly shut down by the actual protesters because they were primarily people not even from Colombia. And Colombians don't want the windows in their neighborhood broken, and they don't want stores that may be owned by their uncle, you know, looted. So yeah, there's a lot of misunderstanding, but it was cool here, and the next time it happens, it will be cool. Don't worry about it. All right, what do we got? What's your eye challenge? Neighbor's secret for making all those connections. Oh, so okay. If you're eye challenged, if you're blind, how is it you make all those connections? Well, I've been trying to tell you guys, you can't help it. If you want to be social, I've got a circle of people, you know, maybe 20 or 30, and I'm antisocial. I try not to have too many because, and I can't really say I have a lot of close friends because I have to keep them at arm's length because, you know, friends kind of put demands on you. They want to go do things, and I don't have time for it. I'm not inclined to want to do it. Yeah, sometimes I am. But I don't want to offend people. But how do you do it? All you have to do is live here, and it's going to happen. People here are so friendly, so social. It's not like these two guys had to do a lot of work to make that happen. I told you the story of in Manizales when we're walking through the park, and this guy and his girlfriend came up and just introduced themselves. And now, you know, he's a fast friend of Marco, he calls himself now, in Manizales, and all their friends and their family, you know, and the circle just grows. When Justin here hurt his foot, doctor comes to his house, and then the nurse comes, and the nurse got, you know, family, and they came, and, you know, it grows and grows and grows because everybody's friendly, everybody's social. If you want to have friends by the hundreds, you're not going to have to come here and work hard at it. As antisocial as I am, it falls in my lap almost every day. Good show by the Bills. Yeah, I watched that game. I had a clip of that too. I was asked, how do you watch the games? You can't get the channels. Cody, you know, if you keep Cody updated, which is becoming, actually, it's very simple. The Cody of a few years ago, it's not like that anymore, and the connections are much better. I didn't have it on my TV, actually. I only had it on the laptop. So yesterday afternoon, I put the Cody on it, and I put the live sports add-on, and it was done long before the game. Put the game on nonstop, watched it without any problems. I watched it in HD. I think it's 720 HD that Cody mostly runs on, but it's fine. You know, it looked great. And I watched the whole game. You know, I'd say I cried, but the thing is, the Bills have been so bad for so long, and I've been a fan forever. And long before the 4 Super Bowls, long before Jim Kelly, you know, I've been a fan. I've been almost a member of that team for a while. I used to be invited to all their events, and I used to make a lot of money, and I was a donor, and you'd get invited, and, you know, these small affairs, like 100 people, special invitation only at the, you know, at the Radisson Hotel, you know, black tie affair, that kind. So I used to be involved in a lot of those things. I've spent a lot of time with the players and staff of the Buffalo Bills. And of course, those days are long gone, and I'm here, but, you know, I will always have a place in my heart for the Bills, even when you go 20 years of having sucky teams year after year. You know, what's our slogan? Well, there's always next year. I mean, that's our slogan. And so watching them last year and this year just get better and better and better, and they're a real team now. Now, I realize they're not going to go that far, but I remember 1989 Buffalo Bills. They had a great defense, and they were really good, but they kind of stalled in the playoffs. But the next year they came back and went to the Super Bowl #1. And so this team kind of reminds me of that they're almost there. They're almost top tier. They're knocking on the door of top tier. And you got a rookie, or, well, almost rookie quarterback, semi-rookie, And you know, he's learning on the fly. He's learning it as he goes, and you see him get better, you know, every week. So you know, I think good owner, everything, every good coach, everything's great. Next year, I think, is when they're really going to surprise people. Um, Joe Ferguson days, absolutely. Yep, that's when Joe Cribbs, that's when I actually started watching them. I was out of the Marine Corps by then. I actually was finished with my second time to the university, and I had a little more free time in my life. I was working, but I wasn't working day and night, 7 days a week. And that's when I got interested in the Buffalo Bills. Green Bay Packers. Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, they're a team that's hard to hate. I've never disliked them. Um, any more questions? Is that it? So I will say this feedback over the next few days from you that I'm begging and pleading for. Please give me some feedback, what you'd like to see, what you like about the videos, what you don't like about the videos. And I mean, you know, as long as you're not rude and insulting, I appreciate criticism. And I may or may not agree with you, but you know, I love that feedback. It gives me a lot to ponder, and then hopefully what comes out the other end will be better videos, you know, for you. Uh, and if they're better for you, then it's I feel better doing them. Right now, I have to tell you, I'm really kind of depressed, discouraged, feeling down about these end of the year stats over the videos. You know, when I first was looking at these stats, after about 15 minutes of diving into them, I was really kind of in the mood of, why am I doing this? You know, it's if people no longer are really that interested in them, uh, if it's not growing but the channel's regressing, then you know, what's the point? But you know, some of the comments have me kind of looking the other way. Plus, I don't know to the extent that YouTube is having an effect. I know the algorithm is affected a lot. I know a lot of people actually have trouble getting information and messages that I put out. So, you know, I don't know. Thank you. Appreciate those comments. Yeah, I'm really leaning towards continuing, but I do have to do something. And, you know, I really need to reshape them somehow, some way. I wish I could do it with talent. I wish I could do it with entertainment or editing skills. You know, I got a comment. It was actually, it turned out to be a troll, but he was looking at a video back from season 3, and he was complaining about how shaky the camera was. And he says, you can't just have a camera and expect yourself to be a travel log professional or something like that. And it's like, one, they're not travel logs. Two, I never claimed to be a professional. And it's like, oh my God, where do these people come from? I knew the camera was shaky. I didn't have the equipment, the ability. I couldn't do anything about it except not do the videos, not show things. Now I have that. And as a matter of fact, thanks to you guys, um, I'm really set with equipment right now as far as the actual camera making. I do need to do something other than this laptop. I'm trying to figure out how to get a refurbished desktop box down here that's really will take a lot of strain off laptops. I did some research why my laptops keep degenerating doing these editing. They're not designed for it, and it causes things to overheat. When they overheat, it you know, cuts their lifespan. And so where this laptop might go 10 years, um, they only last me a year or two before problems start showing up. But if I switch to a desktop, then that can go a long time. And desktops now refurbished are way cheaper. I can get a lot more processing power for a lot less money by having a little desktop. So I'm working on that. Of course, then I can, am I even going to do these videos? Yeah, I'm probably going to do it. So I'm looking into, making that happen. So, I'm going to try to do some improvements, as we continue. Include more beautiful women, Colombian women in the videos. Yeah, I know. Here's the thing. It's like, I know a lot of my viewers, 70-some% are male, best I can tell. Of course, you can't always tell when a wife is using a husband's account or something, but as best I can tell, about 70% are men. And a lot of older men at that point, might be single. And so they might be looking at Colombia and they say, Colombia is a great place to live. I can afford to live there, but it's not my native land. Is it going to be, am I sentencing myself? I know that a lot of you think about this. Am I sentencing myself to a life of loneliness if I go to a place like Colombia? And so I know it's an important topic. And I know it's important enough that it should be handled. I'm just not comfortable with where that kind of topic can go. And you longtime viewers know that. And so I always struggle with where that line is. I mean, I don't want to come across as some, perverted lech and, have it be distasteful or, I just don't want any of that. Maybe because some of the YouTube videos about Colombia seems like that's all they're about. And it just, to me, it's just kind of tedious. I'm far from a prude, and I'll date and I'll have my escapades and, like anybody or most other people. I'm far from a prude. I'm very kind of a private person. And so that's, it's a tough topic. But I'm also recognizing more and more and more and more how important that topic is. And so I will approach it more often than I have been in hopefully tasteful ways, simply because of the extent of the feedback. And one of the things I will tell you is that when I meet up with a guy comes down here, he's a single guy, he's reviewing the place, it's one of the first things he wants to know about. And I hear it again and again and again. And I looked at my case. Now, when I went to Ecuador, it was the last thing on my mind. But after I got healthy and I could actually consider things like that again, when I came to Colombia, it was on my mind too. And as you know, I went through a couple months of, this dating spurt, trying to, figure my life out. And I shared that in a dating video, which, yes, I am still working on that. That's been a laptop issue. Every time I go to work on it, as you recall, that video was like an hour and a half long, and my laptop keeps overheating, and I get off it and I have to go back on, and consequently it gets put to the side for quite a period of time. It's some of the things I deal with on this end. The longer they are, the more problematic they are. I will get that done at some point and get it out there. But I'm aware. I listen to you guys and gals. The thing is, I get asked by a fair number of women the same thing. The only problem is I really can't answer that because I'm not a woman. I have none of those experiences. I just don't know. So, for the 17% or whatever female viewers, when it comes to that topic, I just don't know how to help you on that. Now, if there's any single ladies that have come here to Colombia and want to be interviewed, I'd be happy to do that. And we can even make it a private invitation only type video, so the information is available if you want to do that. So I hear you. More videos about places to visit in and around Armenia. You might be right. It's from my standpoint, and I'm not saying this is correct. From my point of view, it seems like I've kind of done all that. The only thing around Armenia I probably haven't covered outside of some country things, which I will do this coming year. We're going to season 9 New Year's. A coffee plantation. I haven't done that, but Montenegro, I haven't done Montenegro. So I've pretty much done, in my mind. But then again, sometimes when you live in a place and you know it real well, then you can't see the forest for the trees. I don't know. So I will reconsider that. As a matter of fact, because I can't afford to travel probably for another month or two, I will probably have to figure out some things here in Armenia and maybe just kind of reopen my eyes to things that I know, but it's like, oh, I never did a video here. So I'm thinking about that. You need to keep our interest by showing more scenery. Just sitting and talking most of the time, it's kind of hard to keep interest. Well, for these live, I have no choice. I can't really afford, and I have the good software and the software like I'd been using, which I could do that, and I was doing that, but it had a lot of glitches. I had a lot of problems with it. Most of my videos are actually not the Coffee Time Live. These are my talking head videos. And I wish I could show you the scenery, but again, it's that software issue. You cannot do it on YouTube. There's nothing I can do here. But most of my videos, other than these Coffee Time Live, actually are showing things. But I hear you, and you're not the only one who's commented on that. I've actually been told that, it gets really boring. It gets hard to watch, just watching you talk. You need to see some action, need to see some things going on. So, I hear what you're saying. Coffee Time Live, unless Santa drops some software package down my chimney, Coffee Time Live is going to be like this, but they will probably be the only videos like this because I really haven't done this kind of video much in months, except for the live ones. I'm going to Armenia. I'm from Armenia. Like to give me some video ideas. North American since I was a boy, transformed my life for the good. Okay, so somebody that was born here but's been living in North America most of his life and is coming back. I kind of remember, I think you did a comment somewhere, an email or something, because I kind of remember that. And when you get here, we need to meet up. I think you haven't been in Armenia since you were a kid. You're going to be amazed at the changes. I'm blown away by the changes just since when I lived, here 17, 18 years ago or whatever it is. I'll never get that right, but almost 2 decades ago. Do more interviews. Yes. I think the interviews are really good. Whenever I do an interview, they never seem to get a lot of views as compared to other things. So I get the impression that people is like, eh. And the thing is, I think if they watch them, they would find a lot of really good information, a lot of really good perspective. That series of 5 videos, and you say, well, it was so much, it was so long, by the people that traveled for a year. Those videos, if you're even contemplating the possibility of moving to South America, those things were gold. And, they just don't get a lot of views. I don't do the videos based on whether they're going to get a lot of views or not. My thing with the interview is it's actually finding the right people that are willing to do an interview. I struggle with that. A lot of gringos that come down don't want to be interviewed. Justin, I've asked him a bunch of times, could I interview him? I think he'd be very interesting. I think you would love to get his perspective on things and about, whether it's courage that motivated him to come down here blind. Certainly is a fair amount of courage in that. but he just, no, maybe someday, but I'm just not ready for that. And I get that a lot from a lot of people, and I get it. I hate the camera. I've been doing this for 4 years. I'm still not comfortable behind the camera. And people that meet me in person usually notice, not always, but very often will get a comment that, you're much funnier, you're much livelier, you have a lot more energy in person than you do on the videos. It's because I hate the camera. And so I'm never really myself on the camera. You might see little snippets here or there. But one of the reasons they kind of drag on is just I'm not comfortable with the camera itself. But what am I going to do? So yeah, I talk faster when I'm myself. Anyway, I go off topic either way. Get a drone, new toy. I had a drone before, and there were some issues about where you could fly it, not knowing. I didn't have enough Spanish then to keep myself out of trouble. I do now. I can get by fine. My Spanish, well, it still sucks. It's good enough. I can handle most situations. I can actually have some conversations with people. I do, as a matter of fact. But everything now, I mean, and I'm trying not to, I want to cut back on asking for contributions all the time. But the thing is, if I was going to keep the channel going, I have to get those contributions going and have to get them on a regular basis, because it simply costs to do this. On the other hand, I hate posing the question. I hate asking. I hate broaching that subject. And so there's a lot of things I could use. Like I said, I'm all set for equipment. Yeah, there's a particular drone I would love to have, and I would use the heck out of it. But I don't have the money for it. And I just don't want to keep going back and asking you, hey, can you buy me a drone so I can do videos, that everybody's going to enjoy? It's just kind of an awkward thing. I'm just a weird cookie. I think I'm a throwback, it feels almost like, I'm looking for charity. And, back when I grew up, you'd rather die than, ask for charity. So the whole thing is just kind of awkward for me. But the bottom line is, I'm through my financial problems where I was living in desperation for a while. I'm okay. My money is stabilized. Everything is coming to me the way it's supposed to. The only problem is I don't have extra of my own money. I don't have money. Like if I say I want to go to Barranquilla and do a video there for a couple of days, I just can't afford to do it. Even going to Manizales is a little problematic, and that's really cheap to do. So I have my life is good. I'm set. I have everything that I need, but to do extra things is tough. I haven't even figured out how I'm going to get this refurbished desktop. It's not even $300, but that's a lot to me. So, those are all things I have to contend with. So a drone, there's other things that would have to come first. And so even if I do that, it's way down the road. It's like, I'd love to get one of those $1,000 cars so I can actually jump in a car and drive to locations. How awesome would that be? I mean, you would have some great stuff. But yeah, I can't do that. I mean, it's $300 for a license, $1,000 for the car. I've got to get a license and insurance for the car itself. Maybe in a couple of years, I'll have enough money saved to do that. So, and I'm not here to say, hey guys, buy me a car. Hey guys, buy me a computer. It was bad enough with a camera, but in that situation, I had no choice. If I didn't get that camera, these videos were done. I was stuck. All I could do were talking head videos and nothing else. So anyway. Sorry, there's a bunch of things here and I'm trying to read through them. I'm back on YouTube, so they're harder than ever to read. Does Armenia have Spanish school for experts? So you're an expert Spanish speaker, but you want to get a student visa. Um, yeah, they got, you know, the university teaches Spanish. You know, you can learn English in the United States in a university. So if you're an expert, then that's probably easier to find more in-depth programs. Now, the student visas, from what I understand, they're planning on cracking down on those, because right now you can get a student visa for almost anything. And I understand they're really going to tighten up on that. But as far as language schools, there's language schools here, not just to learn Spanish or English, but French and German, and there's any number of things. So, you know, if you're an expert in Spanish, then maybe you want to consider taking French. You know, and you know, sure, that's there and it's possible. Sorry, I am immense. I'm not sure. I'm not following you. Sorry, I can't. Usually I can read typo because I'm a master at typo, but I'm not catching that one. What does it cost to do various trips like Barranquilla, Medellin, Bogota? It's it depends a lot on what it is you plan on doing. The hotels are a little pricier there. Like here, well, just to mention on the hotels, prices vary. Here in Armenia, I've talked in my videos about a place I would like to stay when I was coming to visit, and it was usually $9 to $11 a night. Well, there's a couple that are here right now, and they came just before Christmas. They came a few days ago, and they didn't book ahead. It was really I think the night before they booked, and they're paying like $40 a night. And they were very understanding. They realized that, you know, it's the holidays, but I could see where maybe somebody will come down here and say, what is he talking about? $9, $11. The prices vary. And here we are at Christmas time. It's the busiest time of the year, and their prices go up. They have a floating charge. Also, the longer you stay, the more discount. It's traditional here that every week that you stay, you get a drop on the price. So you're here for 3 weeks, it's less than if you're here for 2 weeks per day. So you have that. But I did look yesterday at hotel prices here in Armenia after Christmas, 26th through, you know, like a week or two, and I saw prices back down around the $10 mark. So I don't make these things up, but, you know, I'm telling you, as of, you know, at the moment, if I were to tell you what are hotels here right now today for the next few days, if you can find a place, you're probably going to drop 40, 50 bucks for a place that's typically, you know, $10 to $15. So what are my costs? Well, like I say, it depends. Bogota, Barranquilla, Medellin, things like that. There's factors of time away, which can disrupt a little bit of income. There's the, you know, the travel time. In country, I do bus, so it's, you know, it's cheaper, but it does take a lot longer. Hotel is really the biggest cost. Meals, very often it's not your stomping grounds, and like Medellin, I haven't been there in a long time, and so, you know, more economical places to eat, you know, it's really kind of hit and miss. You just kind of, it's almost, you're playing tourist even in a place that you know, unless you've been there, you know, in the last year. But every trip like that is going to be, you know, at least a few $100s, and you know, and depending on where you are. I mean, 3 years ago I would laugh and say that's nothing, because 3 years ago I was making $4 grand a month. Well, I'm making a 25% of that now. My life is good on that here in Colombia. I'm doing fine, but $200 now looks like, you know, a really big amount, and it takes some time to work that out and plan it. So you know, when contributions come in, I was able to do a whole bunch of, you know, local towns. And, you know, there was a spurt of that because contributions came in. I got the camera, we continued, you know, so all that money went to the channel. But, you know, okay, we did all that happened. And, you know, where are we at now? So, you know, it's like anything else. You just have to take it as it comes, do your best you can with it. Okay. You don't speak Spanish when you want to come to Colombia. This was back on the, where was I? Was that the question about the student visa? Yeah, it's, oh, expert expat, gotcha. Yes, tons of places to take Spanish here in Armenia. Gotcha. Yeah, you're right. He meant expat. I just wasn't sinking in. I'm just looking at this day and just another beautiful day in paradise. Uh, okay, I think that's it. How are we doing on time? Oh, right on time. So you have a lot to think about. You have a lot to get back to me on. So please give it some thoughts. Um, I won't see you live until after Christmas, but have a Merry Christmas. I will put up a video Christmas Day. I'm hoping it's as good as it is in my brain. It's only partly done. And I'll see you soon. Look forward to your feedback. And ciao.